about. Eva Desca Garnet is here with me, and she has agreed to demonstrate some of the dance movements that she remembers from the Federal Dance Project, particularly from one long production called With My Red Fires. Perhaps first you could tell us a brief outline of the story of With My Red Fires and some of the elements that you're going to be showing.
Oh. The quote is from Blake, and I don't know the whole quote, but it relates to the feeling of society, the matriarch as a symbol, and society, and its power to reward and punish, and in this particular case, the power to punish two young people who are in love and escape the vigilance and the wrath of the mother, a very loving mother, until she is crossed. Mm-hmm. And so it's done in 4 acts, and I just thought that I'd like to bring to life the quality and the meanings of some of these movements, because I have a feeling that some of these things are no longer happening in modern dance, and maybe a little sense of history, a sense of where our roots were, how movement wasn't determined by how it will look so much, or how difficult it is, but how meaningful it is. Yeah. And in this particular movement that I thought about doing, the society has been alarmed. The matriarch has sent out the alarm, go search her, go get her, and let's bring her back. Bring her back, and then we'll see what we do with her. And so all of these people are ready to start going, and then the alarm has been set, and this whole thing is beginning to go, and it's as though they were sending not only lights out to search her, but their hands become like daggers, and the eyes become like spotlights, and then the kind of screaming and a feeling of, oh, what we will do when we get her. So the combination, the phrase goes something like this. Yatta, 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 ah, ah, and it goes again. Yatta, yatta, and along with this kind of movement, there are other movements that are a little more technical for me that I can't really do in the air, but it's a beating movement. And the beating movement is done in the air. So it's leap and leap and leap and leap. All this is done up in the air with group leaping.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, it is technical. But do you get any feeling out of this?
Probably. I think what you're trying to say, and I can see definitely that technique is one thing, but more important is the intensity that you convey and what comes across, right?
That comes from the feeling.
Yeah.
That's the feeling underlying the meaning.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm still talking about Doris, of course. Different. It was the prevailing climate,
yeah,
of the choreographer to say through the body, to communicate through the body. I just thought of something just charming in a different ballet, not even in the Red Fires, but just to see how the body is so expressive. That was just,
yeah,
follow me, just follow me. One of the things that, again, subtleties, using space and direction, space and direction, for meaning, that's all, hardly any movement. When the young lover, who was Charles Weidman, unobtrusively approaches the set, which represents the home, that was very interesting set. But it's like a window, and you see the mother and the daughter back and forth arguing, and the mother
Pulling.
cajoling and all of this stuff. And here is this very cool lover, you know, not at all involved in any of this heat and problems, and he just walks in backwards. He's got plenty of time. Time doesn't mean a thing to him. And what is the message? It's moving indirectly by indirection, insinuatingly. That was the approach of the use of the body as an instrument of expression.
And also, I think that demonstrates how, you mentioned before, people could get caught up in the breathing, and they would breathe along with in the audience.
Right, and that is the other point that I thought would possibly bring, again, kind of have a meaning for today. And that is, in Doris Humphrey's work, she was involved in many, you know, she developed many principles, but one was the use of breath as against metric rhythm. Metric rhythm is the way everybody moves. And so I'll show you one where you get a feeling of metric rhythm and breath. Or here, breathe.
Exhale.
Right,
Yeah.
breathe. In. Breathe. Out. Breathe. In. Breathe. Out. And it's true that there were parts in the ballet, especially in Pursuit, where we had involved the audience so much in our breathing that when we would stop and just after we would be doing something like a whole phalanx of people moving to go after them and listen, and when we would stop and listen for maybe 12 seconds, the audience stopped breathing. And then it started again. Yeah. Ba, da, da. And it built up all the suspense because the breathing had already been involved. But I thought I'd show you one other movement if we have time to get the feeling of suspension and breathing and the rhythms. And this comes from Passacaglia. Ya, da, di, da, di. Wait, how's it go? Oh yeah. Di, da, di, da, di, da, di, di, da, di, da, di, da, di, da, da. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Da, di, da, da, di, da, da, di, da.
Much more open and expressive, that one.
Yeah, well, now that is a much happier dance.
Right.
That's Passacaglia with a whole feeling of the beauty and the dignity and the pleasure of being human, being in space and moving harmoniously.
Oh, thank you for sharing these with us today.
Yeah, I did want to say, however, you know, this is all the Humphrey Weidman the Humphrey Weidman contribution,
Right.
and there were
Others,
other styles,
lots of others.
but the meaning of the movement was communicate what you had to say, and the success of it
out.
was based on the extent to which you did communicate.
Thank you. I'd like to thank, above all, the dancers who appeared with me today at this videotape session, and in addition, the Rockefeller Foundation, George Mason University, and the Motion Picture Television Division of the Theater Arts Department at the University of California, Los Angeles.